There are moments when a single phrase can shatter everything you thought you knew about your life. And sometimes that phrase comes from the person who promised to love and cherish you forever. My story begins at what should have been a celebration of love, but became the day I finally understood that I deserved so much more than the man I had married. I'm Jessica, and I had been married to Ryan for 8 years. We were attending his cousin's wedding at an elegant venue in the countryside, surrounded by extended family and friends. It was the kind of wedding I had always dreamed of. Beautiful flowers, a string quartet, and guests dressed in their finest attire. I had spent weeks preparing for this day. I bought a new dress, got my hair done professionally, and was genuinely excited to spend a special evening with my husband. Ryan had been working long hours lately, and I thought this wedding would be a perfect opportunity for us to reconnect and enjoy each other's company. The ceremony was beautiful, and during the reception, I was having wonderful conversations with Ryan's family members I hadn't seen in years. His Aunt Margaret was telling me about her recent trip to Italy, his cousin Tom was sharing stories about his new business, and I felt genuinely happy to be part of this family celebration. That's when Ryan approached our table with a group of his college friends who had also been invited to the wedding. I smiled and waved at them, expecting to be included in their conversation. Instead, what happened next would change everything. "Hey guys," Ryan said, loud enough for several nearby tables to hear. "I'd love to join you at the bar, but I'm stuck babysitting the dead weight tonight." The words hit me like a physical blow. Dead weight. He was referring to me, his wife of 8 years, as dead weight, in front of his friends, at a family wedding. The conversations around us seemed to pause, and I felt every eye at our table turn toward me. The conversations around us seemed to pause, and I felt every eye at our table turn toward me. "Ryan," his Aunt Margaret said sharply, clearly appalled by what she had just heard. "That's a terrible thing to say about your wife." But Ryan just laughed, apparently thinking his comment was hilarious. "Oh, come on, Aunt Margaret. Jessica knows I'm just kidding around, don't you, Jess?" All eyes were on me now. His friends looked uncomfortable, some of the family members looked shocked, and I felt like I was drowning in humiliation. This wasn't a private moment between spouses where a joke might be misunderstood. This was a public degradation in front of people I cared about. "I don't think that's funny," I said quietly, my voice barely audible over the music. "See, no sense of humor," Ryan said to his friends, rolling his eyes. "This is what 8 years of marriage gets you guys. Think twice before you tie the knot." His friend Dave shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "Dude, maybe you should—" "Should what?" Ryan interrupted. "Should pretend that my wife is the life of the party? Come on, we all know Jessica's idea of fun is staying home and reorganizing the closets." I felt tears starting to form in my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Not here. Not in front of all these people. But Ryan wasn't done. "I mean, look at her," he continued, gesturing at me like I was an object on display. "She spent 2 hours getting ready tonight just to sit at the table and make small talk with the old ladies. Meanwhile, I'm trying to have some actual fun with my friends." That's when his cousin Lisa, the bride herself, appeared at our table in her beautiful white dress. "Ryan, what the hell is wrong with you?" she demanded. "This is my wedding day, and you're treating your wife like garbage in front of everyone. Either apologize to Jessica right now or leave my reception." The entire table went silent. Even the music seemed to fade into the background. The conversations around us seemed to pause, and I felt every eye at our table turn toward me. "Ryan," his Aunt Margaret said sharply, clearly appalled by what she had just heard, "that's a terrible thing to say about your wife." But Ryan just laughed, apparently thinking his comment was hilarious. "Oh, come on, Aunt Margaret. Jessica knows I'm just kidding around, don't you, Jess?" All eyes were on me now. His friends looked uncomfortable, some of the family members looked shocked, and I felt like I was drowning in humiliation. This wasn't a private moment between spouses where a joke might be misunderstood. This was a public degradation in front of people I cared about. I don't think that's funny, I said quietly, my voice barely audible over the music. See? No sense of humor, Ryan said to his friends, rolling his eyes. This is what 8 years of marriage gets you guys. Think twice before you tie the knot. His friend Dave shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Dude, maybe you should... Should what? Ryan interrupted. Should pretend that my wife is the life of the party? Come on, we all know Jessica's idea of fun is staying home and reorganizing the closets. I felt tears starting to form in my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Not here, not in front of all these people. But Ryan wasn't done. I mean, look at her, he continued, gesturing at me like I was an object on display. She spent 2 hours getting ready tonight just to sit at the table and make small talk with the old ladies. Meanwhile, I'm trying to have some actual fun with my friends. That's when his cousin Lisa, the bride herself, appeared at our table in her beautiful white dress. Ryan, what the hell is wrong with you? This is my wedding day and you're treating your wife like garbage in front of everyone. Either apologize to Jessica right now or leave my reception. The entire table went silent. Even the music seemed to fade into the background. Because sometimes the greatest gift someone can give you is showing you exactly who they are. After ending the call with my lawyer, I stood in the hotel lobby for a few minutes, collecting my thoughts. The conversation with Jennifer had been brief but productive. We had discussed the possibility of divorce a month earlier when Ryan's behavior had reached a particularly low point, but I hadn't been ready to move forward. Tonight had changed everything. I took a deep breath and returned to the reception. Ryan was indeed at the bar, laughing loudly with his friends as if nothing had happened. He didn't even notice when I walked back into the room. I returned to our table, where Lisa was still comforting some of the family members who had been upset by Ryan's behavior. Jessica, I am so sorry, Lisa said, grabbing my hands. That was absolutely unacceptable. Thank you for standing up for me. That meant more to me than you know. Are you okay? Do you want me to have someone drive you home? Actually, I said, sitting back down, I think I'll stay and enjoy the rest of your beautiful wedding. This is your special day, and I'm not going to let Ryan's behavior ruin it for either of us. For the next 3 hours, I had the most enjoyable time I'd had in months. I danced with Ryan's uncles, shared stories with his cousins, and genuinely connected with people who had become my family over the years. It was bittersweet, knowing that after the divorce, I might lose touch with many of these wonderful people. Ryan remained at the bar the entire time, getting progressively more drunk and more obnoxious. Several family members approached me throughout the evening to apologize for his behavior and to express their support for me. You know, his Uncle Frank told me during a dance, "You're the best thing that ever happened to that boy. If he's too stupid to see that, it's his loss." By the end of the night, Ryan was so intoxicated that his friends had to help him to our hotel room. I followed behind, saying my goodbyes to the family and thanking Lisa for a beautiful wedding. By the end of the night, Ryan was so intoxicated that his friends had to help him to our hotel room. I followed behind, saying my goodbyes to the family and thanking Lisa for a beautiful wedding. The next morning, Ryan woke up with a massive hangover and no apparent memory of how badly he had behaved the night before. He stumbled to the bathroom, took a shower, and emerged acting as if everything was normal. "Great wedding last night," he said casually while getting dressed. "Lisa looked beautiful. Did you have fun?" I stared at him in disbelief. "Do you remember what happened last night?" "What do you mean? We went to the wedding, had dinner, danced a little, pretty standard wedding stuff." "You called me dead weight in front of your entire family." Ryan paused in buttoning his shirt. "What? I did not." "Yes, you did. You told your friends you were stuck babysitting the dead weight, referring to me. Then you continued to insult me for the next 10 minutes while your family watched." I could see the memories slowly coming back to him. His face went from confusion to recognition to what I hoped might be remorse. "Jessica, I was drinking. People say stupid things when they drink. You know I didn't mean it." "But you did mean it, Ryan. That's the problem. When people drink, they often say what they really think, but normally have the filter not to say out loud. Come on, don't be so dramatic. It was a joke. A joke? You humiliated me in front of people I care about. You made me feel worthless and unwanted. What part of that was supposed to be funny? Ryan sat down on the bed, running his hands through his hair. Fine. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said those things. Can we just move on now? No, I said quietly. We can't move on. Because this isn't the first time, Ryan. This is just the first time you did it in public. What's that supposed to mean? It means I'm done. We're done. It means I'm done. We're done. Ryan looked at me like I had just announced I was flying to Mars. You're being ridiculous. So I made a stupid comment when I was drunk. That doesn't mean our marriage is over. It's not just the comment, Ryan. It's everything. It's the way you've been treating me for months. It's the way you dismiss my feelings, ignore my opinions, and make me feel like I'm an inconvenience in your life. That's not true, isn't it? When was the last time you asked me how my day was? When was the last time you thanked me for cooking dinner or doing your laundry? When was the last time you treated me like someone you actually wanted to be married to? Ryan was quiet for a moment, and I could see him trying to think of examples to prove me wrong. The fact that he couldn't come up with any told us both everything we needed to know. Marriage isn't supposed to be about constant gratitude for basic household tasks, he said finally. You're right. It's supposed to be about respect, partnership, and treating each other with kindness. And you haven't done any of those things in months. So what are you saying? You want a trial separation? No, Ryan. I'm saying I want a divorce. The word hung in the air between us like a bomb waiting to explode. Ryan's face went through several expressions: shock, disbelief, and finally anger. You're going to divorce me because of one bad night? I'm going to divorce you because last night showed me who you really are. And who you really are isn't someone I want to be married to anymore. This is insane. You can't just throw away 8 years of marriage over a misunderstanding. It wasn't a misunderstanding, Ryan. It was a revelation. I opened my suitcase and began packing my things. I've already spoken to my lawyer. The papers will be ready Monday morning. Ryan stared at me in shock. You already called a lawyer? When? Last night, right after you called me dead weight and walked away. Last night, right after you called me dead weight and walked away. The drive home from the wedding was silent. Ryan kept trying to start conversations, alternating between apologies, anger, and attempts to convince me I was overreacting. I didn't respond to any of it. When we got to our house, I continued packing while Ryan followed me around, still trying to change my mind. Jessica, please, we can work this out. We can go to counseling. I'll change. You've had 8 years to change, Ryan. 8 years to treat me with basic respect and kindness. Why would you suddenly start now? Because I don't want to lose you. I stopped packing and looked at him. You don't want to lose me, or you don't want to lose someone to cook your meals, clean your house, and make your life easier. That's not fair, isn't it? Name one thing about me, specifically, that you would miss. Not what I do for you, but who I am as a person. Ryan opened his mouth, then closed it. The silence stretched between us, and with each passing second, my decision felt more and more right. Monday morning, I walked into Ryan's office and placed the divorce papers on his desk in front of his colleagues. He had humiliated me in public, so I decided to return the favor. What are you doing? He hissed, clearly embarrassed. I'm serving you with divorce papers, just like I told you I would. You couldn't wait until I got home? Dead weight doesn't wait for convenient timing, I replied, loud enough for his coworkers to hear. 6 months later, I was living in a beautiful apartment across town, had reconnected with friends I had neglected during my marriage, and was dating someone who actually enjoyed my company. Ryan, meanwhile, was learning to do his own laundry for the first time in 8 years. The best part? I received a beautiful thank you note from Lisa, his cousin who had defended me at the wedding. Thank you for showing me what self-respect looks like. You inspired me to demand better in my own marriage. Sometimes the most valuable thing you can do is show people that no one has the right to treat you as less than you are. And sometimes walking away is the strongest thing you can do. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. And when they call you dead weight, show them how much lighter your life becomes without them in it. 2 years later, Ryan reached out to me through mutual friends, saying he wanted to apologize and that he finally understood how badly he had treated me. I politely declined to meet with him. Some apologies come too late, and some bridges, once burned, are meant to stay that way. I had learned to value myself too much to go backward. The woman who had been called dead weight at that wedding had transformed into someone who knew her worth, demanded respect, and refused to settle for anything less than she deserved. And that transformation was worth more than any marriage that required me to diminish myself to maintain it. 3 years after that life-changing wedding, I received an unexpected phone call that would bring everything full circle. It was Lisa, Ryan's cousin whose wedding had been the catalyst for my transformation. "Jessica, I have some news I thought you should hear," she said, her voice carrying a mix of sadness and vindication. "What's going on?" Ryan got married again last month to a woman named Stephanie who he met at work. I felt nothing. No jealousy, no regret, no sadness, just a mild curiosity about where this conversation was going. "I hope he's learned to treat her better than he treated me," I said, and I genuinely meant it. "That's just it," Lisa continued. "I ran into them at a restaurant last week, and Jessica, he was treating her exactly the way he treated you, dismissing her opinions, talking over her, making little comments about her appearance. It was like watching a replay of your marriage." "I'm sorry to hear that." But here's the interesting part. When I introduced myself as the bride from the wedding where you two, well, where everything happened, Stephanie lit up. She said she'd heard about you from other people in Ryan's life. "Apparently, you've become something of a legend." A legend? The woman who had the courage to walk away. The woman who showed everyone what self-respect looks like. Jessica, you have no idea how many women in our social circle have referenced your story when they were going through their own struggles. I sat down, absorbing misinformation. I had no idea. There's more. Remember Ryan's friend Dave, the one who was at the bar that night? Vaguely. He got divorced 6 months after your wedding incident, told his wife he'd been thinking about Jessica's courage, and realized he deserved to be happy too. His marriage had been just as toxic as yours. That's... wow. And my friend Sarah, who you met at the reception, she broke up with her boyfriend of 5 years after hearing your story, said she'd realized she'd been accepting crumbs when she deserved the whole meal. As Lisa continued sharing story after story of people who had been inspired by my decision to leave, I realized that my moment of standing up for myself had rippled outward in ways I never could have imagined. "Lisa, why are you telling me all this?" "Because I wanted you to know that your courage didn't just save your own life, it saved a lot of lives. And I thought you should know that the woman who was called dead weight that night became the catalyst for a lot of people finding their own strength." After we hung up, I looked around my beautiful apartment, thought about my fulfilling career, my genuine friendships, and the man I was now dating who treated me like the treasure I had learned I was. Ryan had been right about one thing that night. I was dead weight, but not in his life, in my own. I had been carrying the weight of a relationship that was killing my spirit, diminishing my worth, and keeping me from becoming who I was meant to be. The moment I decided to drop that weight and walk away was the moment I started truly living. Sometimes the cruelest words can become the greatest gifts, showing us exactly what we need to leave behind to find our way home to ourselves. If this story shocked you, just wait for what's next. Leave a comment, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and of course, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss a single notification.